Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this Awkward to Awesome. Today, we're kind of following up that same trend we were doing, these life lessons that no one taught us. So we were learning, boundaries and communication skills and just kind of basic life maintenance. But the one subject we didn't cover was money. I really wanted to cover money, but I think, sorry, phone is ringing. I think money is a huge, huge, huge topic. It deserves its own stage. We're not just going to jam it in there with other stuff. Money is huge. So when I was bringing up money in one of the events, one of our members, George Maldonado, brought it up and he says, well, actually, I'm a financial educator. And if you want, we could do this session together. And so this is really, really good for you guys. So I know a lot about money. I love money. Money's fantastic, but I am not a money educator. So that's actually why I didn't feel comfortable sharing. So the information that we're doing today is from an actual financial educator. Okay. Like this is the real deal. So it's actually really good information. And I'm going to tell you all about working with him, but it also comes from one of our members, which I think is really special. So let me have George introduce himself real quick. And just as a little preface, George and I got to talk on the phone for about 2 hours. He is a delightful human being. I fell so in love with him. He's charming. So, George, take it away.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. I'm just grateful to be here with everybody. I know that financial education or talking about finances and money is can be a taboo subject. So I'm here to spread the education and it be a safe space where I know a lot of times people try to sell you something or you got to join something or whatever. Not at all. I was talking to Lark and getting to know her too. We want to create an environment where people can just freely ask, and Lark's going to go through a lot of different material, a lot of concepts. But the one thing I want you to know is that everything has to do with the relationship you have with money and your habits. Okay, so as we go through, you may have some money trauma. Okay, I know that a lot of us may have some money trauma. Okay, and that's okay. What we teach is just fundamentals, core fundamentals. It's not the fancy get the 100% returns or anything like that. It's some core fundamental stuff. And it's stuff that you can actually implement in your life today as you leave the call. Hopefully you'll get something where you're like, oh, okay, I can go home and talk to my spouse or my family and start to implement some strategies myself. But I'm here in Houston, Texas. I'll put a link on to reach out to me to fill out a sort of survey card later on if you're interested in learning more. But I'm here to help you all, and I think it's something that I wish was taught to me when I was younger. But hey, never too late to start learning. Okay.
Thank you so much, George. Do you see how delightful he is? Oh my God. We just got carried away talking. So, how today is going to work is I'm going to be presenting his information and he's going to be manning the chat. So, if you guys have questions or anything like that, we're going to put it in the chat. So that way it's kind of a 1-2 punch because it's really hard for me to man the chat and present. So, you've got three of us working behind the scenes right now. The next thing that I want to tell you is that this is purely educational. This isn't legal advice, this isn't tax advice. So basically, you can't hold us accountable. You can't say, well, Lark said this and now it's do or die. This is just education. This is the first step. So Atika dropped the link in there. So there's a document that we're all going to be working off of. So you all have that document. I'll reshare that later when I do the recording. And so let me just tell you a little bit more. George didn't say it, but he actually teaches weekly finance classes that are free. Is that correct? These are free classes that you teach? Okay, he says thumbs up. So you can go, I've got links in the document to work with George. So what we're doing is a condensed version, and he breaks up each one of these topics into their own individual thing. So if there's one thing that you're like, ooh, I didn't learn enough there, sign up for that talk. But they're all free. They're all with this amazing man. But let's see. I think we covered the basis. Okay. So, oh, Tika, you are the shit. Normally I would talk more about what Atika and I do with coaching. So I'll just say it real quick. If you want to work with me one-on-one, there is a link at the top of the document to work with me. If you want to work with Atika, I could bring her up here, but I don't know if she's in the mood to come and talk with us right now. And then George's links are in the document. Okay, all of those. If you are a lady and you'd like to come join us at the women's group this month of July, we're actually talking about regrets and the way our lives could have gone and the shoulda, woulda, couldas. And we're reading my favorite book, The Midnight Library. So, ladies, if you want to come join us, it's tomorrow night at 6:30. Come join us, and we're going to talk about um, regrets and how to move on and how to live the life that we have. So Thursday night, 6:30 Eastern. Okay. Woo! Let's get this going. Let's talk about money. Now, before we get started, I want you guys to put in the chat, how does this even make you feel? Like about to have a conversation with money? Because some people were like, oh no, I'm not even ready to have this conversation. So, like, where are you at with that? Let's see here. Excited. Okay, excited to talk about money. Let's rock. Okay, because some people are like, money's scary. Yeah, it's important to know. He said that right when I did. Okay, so what I want to do is we're going to be talking about the fundamentals, the four fundamentals of finance. And what I'd like for you guys to do is right now, before we even begin, I want you to think about this question. First of all, be honest with yourself. Where are you at right now with money? What's your starting point? Like, it's okay, but it's really good to be honest. You might not like it. You might be like, oh shit, I'm $30,000 in debt and I don't even know where to begin. Debt happens. That's okay. We're going to talk about debt. But I want you to think about, yeah, paycheck to paycheck, like where are we at with right now? And it's okay. Just be honest because that's the best part that we can do right now. The next thing is I want you to think about what are your goals for 1 year, 5 year, 10 years? Like where are we at with this? So I want you to kind of have this idea of like, where am I starting from and where am I going? If you're 30,000 in debt and you want to be a millionaire in 2 years, that's a very different plan than not having any debt, but wanting to, go to school, wanting to buy a home. There's a lot of different levers to play with. So it doesn't matter where you are. We love and accept you where you are. That's totally fine. We're all starting somewhere else. I just want you guys to be honest with yourselves. Okay, so the fundamentals of finance. So some questions to think about when expanding your knowledge of money. So this is just kind of a basic rundown this tonight. But the basic questions I want you to think about is, first of all, what is your relationship with money? So were you raised with a lot of money and you're like, money is amazing and it just flows to me? Cool. Good for you. Maybe that's where you want to get more into investing. Is your relationship with money that you didn't have any money growing up and it's a scary thing? So for me, we didn't have money growing up, and my mom is so traumatized with money. And like my mom will not lend me a dollar. Like she will not lend me a dollar. I'm 46 years old. I have money, but if we're out and about and I'll be like, Mom, can I borrow a dollar for whatever? She will not lend me a dollar. So there is money trauma in my family. Okay, the next thing is, what stories around money did you grow up with? So in my family, the stories were definitely like people with money are evil, they're bad, they're jerks. So fast forward, like I have a good career and like I'm scared to tell my parents that because they're gonna think I'm a jerk. Okay, so what stories around money did you grow up with, and what are you telling yourself about money? So some people think, I'm never going to have money. Money's for somebody else. I'll never make money. Right. And so when we talk about that, that's actually getting into some law of manifestation stuff, which we should do just because it'd be super fun, Nisha. Do you have money trauma? And then I'm curious, what do you believe money says about you as a person? This one I'd really like you guys to answer in the chat. Ooh, Luann, I had a lot of self-reliance growing up. Badass. Okay, what do you believe money says about you as a person? So for me, I think, oh, I'll share in a minute. Thank you, Atika. So I think money to me says now for me, because I built my own business, it really shows me that like I could build a business. I'm not actually in the business for money. I'm in the business to help people, but I want to help people without having an asshole boss tell me how to help people. So for me, it's like this freedom to help people in my way so that I can get on the internet and cuss and help people. And then, that to me is success. So money proves like, yeah, Lark, you did that. Atika did say that I should share this, so we are going to share this. Share screen. Thank you, Atika. And then the next is, do you see money as safety, freedom, stress, power, guilt, or something else? For me, money is safety. Money is safety. And you know what's really fascinating about that is I don't know how much money it's going to take for me to feel safe. Like that's some trauma right there. That it's like, I don't know how much money it's going to take for me to feel safe. So I don't know. I do have money trauma. Definitely have it. So the fundamentals that we're going to be talking about are proper protection. So it's going to be insurance, debt management, emergency fund, and investments. Okay, these are the four fundamentals. And you can see it's this progression that we're going to get through. And remember that as I go through these, if you have any questions, George is there. He's monitoring the chat. And he's welcome to raise his hand and let me know if he wants to like pop in at any point. So let's talk about proper protection. So this is insurance. And this is how George and I came to be, was that I was looking at life insurance with my husband, and we have no clue what any of that means. Like, what does any of this life insurance mean? But there's other types of insurance too, right? There's short-term disability, long-term disability. There's different variations that you might need. Travel insurance, all these insurance. I am an insurance junkie because it's safety, right? Safety, safety, safety. I did not feel safe growing up. So for me, the number one thing that I want is safety. So before we get into investing, I want you to think about your financial right now, what it is, like the financial strategy you're going to use is who are the people you have in your life, the responsibilities, and these things that depend on you that you're protecting if something else happens to you. So how many of you guys here have children that you think like, oh, if I die, I'd like to leave them some money, something to take care of? Majesty, I see your comment. That would be absolutely amazing to do that. Okay. So if you've got kids, you might want to leave them some money. Now, this was what was really interesting to me was that balancing like when does the life insurance end versus retirement? Like there was so much going on here. So when we talk about life insurance, I want to think about DIME. This is courtesy of George, of course. Debt, income, mortgage, education. So when you're thinking about debts, if you were to pass, what debts would someone else be left to manage? So if you do have kids, if you do have a spouse, and you do have 100 grand in, student loans or something, is that a debt that's going to be left to your, spouse or your children? That's what's going to be paid with life insurance. So income. This is where life insurance comes in for me and my husband because we, depend on his income more than my income. And so if he were to pass, could I maintain my lifestyle with my income? So I would need that life insurance to supplement his income. So what George likes to say is a common starting point is 10 times your annual income, but your needs may be different. So whatever your annual income is, times it by 10, and think about like how much could that be replaced? And that might be the amount of insurance you would look for. Mortgage, is your spouse or your children going to have to pay off your mortgage? And then education. If you have children, would you like to send those children to college? Like that could be a great way to allocate that life insurance is by using that for their future education. The other thing we want to consider is long-term care. So this is also as you get older. So to protect people who are financially responsible for you, right? So again, this could be your kids, but it could be your niece, it could be whoever you have who's going to be taking care of you. This is going to be something that you could do to protect them so that they're not like, oh God, the funeral costs or having to put you in a long-term care home, anything like that. So these are just options. We don't have to have insurance, but I just want to give you this as like this is one of the four fundamentals. You want to build your emergency fund before taking on insurance you don't need. So emergency fund is actually more important in some ways. So we want to get that emergency fund built before we start adding to insurance. So when I was looking at insurance, I was shocked at some of the prices that were available that I could spend thousands of dollars a month. Was that going to fit my need? Would that be better in a savings account? And so this being said, your insurance needs can change over time. So a great example of this is my husband rides motorcycles across the country. And you better believe I've got short term, long term, I got that guy covered in insurance. Now, if he gets older and he stops riding a motorcycle, do I need these insurances anymore? So, really, it's a way to look at your life. So, the goal isn't to buy every type of insurance available. The goal is to understand what risks can seriously affect your life. So, again, this is where it comes time to be honest with yourself. Do you have risky behaviors? Do you have dependents? Do you want to be able to go into a facility? So, like, if my husband dies first, I want to go to the cream of the crop elderly care home. I really want to live in a nice place when I'm elderly. So, like, that's what my insurance will be for. Okay, so let's take a moment to just check in the chat. How's everything going with insurance? Does anybody have any questions for George? Any thoughts on this? And he has a class.
Um,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I know there's a question about should I set aside money just to make sure I fight the insurance companies in court? I mean, one is reputable companies. So there's a lot of little smaller mom and pop insurance companies. I would steer away from those, okay? But when you do get insurance, you want to do the medical stuff up front. Okay, so here's the thing, because a lot of people, you may get these insurances that they say, oh, don't worry, you don't have to do any medical, nothing, you're fine, but they do the medical stuff after, and they if they find a pre-existing condition they may not cover it. So I always tell people, hey, let's do all the medical up front, make sure you're good and clear so they cannot deny, and there's contestability periods and other things that I would educate you more so you understand what it is that you're getting. And then on the affordability, I know you mentioned that, Lark, as well, is you're right. You have to find the thing that is affordable for you. It's not just about getting some expensive thing. Is it the right thing for you? And that's where just understanding the different types is important, okay?
Mm. And then there was a question about two questions came up. Is there an insurance that fills in the gap of health insurance? And you might not know that one. Okay.
Yes, there is. Okay, so there's different types of insurance that you can get to fill in the gaps. That being said, it goes back to like kind of the dental insurance question is you have to look at it depends on what you're spending on. Okay, so we have to really evaluate the whole year of what you spend because sometimes you say you pay dental insurance or the gap, but then you don't use it, then maybe it's better to put it into something like a HSA. Okay, so a different type of savings plan for those medical expenses instead of getting insurance. So there are other options instead, but I could definitely cover those things. That's you're going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, there is a lot to go through. My husband got a new job, we got new insurance, and like none of the doctors in Albuquerque take this insurance. So I'm in a pickle. Oh, thank you, Nisha. Yeah, we're very happy about it. Okay, so let me get back. So now number two is we're going to get into debt. So I made debt a little bigger because I know that's the one that a lot of people struggle with, and we just really easy to get into debt. Super easy. So real quick before we jump on to this next part, how many of you guys are struggling with debt? You don't have to put the number, but like how many of you do you feel like debt is the issue for you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of my clients have debt, and it seems to be kind of this overarching anxiety in their lives. It's this umbrella if they can't get out from under it. I have a client, and I'm not making this number up. He has 15 maxed out credit cards. 15 maxed out credit cards. So, he isn't feeling great on a daily basis because he doesn't make enough money to cover it. So yeah, Jennifer says interest is holding me hostage. That's exactly right. And that's what's going on with my client. Okay, so debt 101. So I just want to break down debt before we kind of get into the management part of it. So what do you need to know first? Debt is money that you borrowed that must be paid back, usually with interest. A lot of people say, oh, well, okay, there's no interest. So we're going to look at these varying degrees of it. But interest is the cost of borrowing money. So interest is the price you pay in addition to the actual principal money that you borrowed, right? So that's how those companies make money is on the interest. The longer you carry a balance, the more you pay beyond that originally spent. So I just wanted to do one little example to show you. If you buy a $1,200 phone and you pay $100 a month, if you have a 0% interest, if you see that, awesome, that's free money. In 12 months, it's paid off at $1,200. Easy peasy. But at 15%, it's now going to take you 14 months to pay it off. And now you're paying an extra $108 for that phone. So in 14 months, it's now worth more. At 25%, now at 14 months, it's $1,395. So we're creeping up. And at 30% at 15 months, that phone is now $245 more. So with interest, it just creeps up and up and up. So at 30%, even if you're paying $100 more a month, it's just going to cost you more. Um, and so that's why we want to really be cautious is like, how much are we spending? What is the interest rate? Look at your interest rate. Our credit card, I think, is like a 30% interest rate. Um, is this the same way credit card interest is calculated? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about credit cards because these are the easiest way that people fall into this trap because it's so easy. So easy. Hold on. Okay, so credit cards can be used for regular expenses because there's not enough cash available. So if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you might be using your credit cards to get that extra stuff that your paycheck isn't covering. And then that's going to build up because if you don't have enough money for your paycheck to pay for your normal expenses, are you going to have enough money to cover the interest on that credit card? You might pay only the minimum, but keep adding new charges. So think about that. You're paying the minimum. Oh, they only say $10 a month, but every month you're adding another $200 to that. So that minimum is going to keep growing as well, and you're never going to pay down the principal. You might miss payments, which could lead to late fees, higher interest rate, and credit damage. You might get a large windfall. So this is something we're going to talk a lot about. So maybe you get a tax refund and you put all that down on the debt, right? So, oh my gosh, my taxes were $1,000. I'm putting it right on the credit card. Awesome, awesome sauce. But you didn't change the habits that were getting you in that debt. So you just went right back the next month to charging that extra $200 a month. Or you didn't budget what needs to be budgeted now with this new debt balance. So this is really what we start to think about. Like, this is the money habits that George was talking about. What is your habit around money? So these are really important to look about. Another thing that might happen is you have no emergency savings. So you have no emergency savings. An emergency happens. I don't know if you guys have ever had to ride in an ambulance. It is a shocking amount of money, even if you have insurance. And then bam, you put it on the credit card. And so now you're paying that off. So we really want to be cautious about the credit cards. Debt is not always bad, right? Because you want to build your credit. That's another great way to do it. So the way I do this, and I don't know if George approves of this, we'll see, but the way I do it is I put every single thing on a credit card every month, and then I pay it off every 2 weeks. I pay it off. Every time I get paid in my paycheck, I pay off my credit card. So I never actually run up debt, but I'm getting like the points and the rewards. George, is that a good system? He's like, no, no, look at, tell me about it. What should I be doing?
Okay, so this is a tricky one because yes, I saw someone on the chat say, "Hey, I get all the points." So if you're able to pay it off in full, you're fine. A good way to test if you're able to do that, how big is your emergency fund? Is it enough to cover 1 month of your expenses? And then you can clear out the card. So say you have, let's say you have a travel fund and then you save for your flights and your travel for the entire year, and then you put it on your credit card, then you just pay it out completely. Yes. But if we have debt already, we have to change. So this is where this is a good exercise to do is every day sit down and see how you spend money because statistics show people that use credit cards use more money because it's just easier. Okay, look at the statistics. So my suggestion is to say write down all your debts. Okay, and I know where I think Lark's gonna show a debt strategy here, but write down all your debts and see what your minimum payments are, and then focus on the lowest debt first. Okay, and then start put all your energy into one. Don't put it all over the place because a lot of the times people just put it everywhere and then the debt goes like this. Okay, but it continues to go up. So just do it's about organization, and then of course I can help you do that. Sometimes with kids and family and all this stuff, you're like, "Oh my goodness, how am I going to tackle this?" I help you organize.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Help us organize. Um, oh, he just said something and then it left my brain. It'll circle back around. So oh yeah, I know. When we talk about debt, I want to know from you guys, it's not always bad. We have this listed here. There's mortgage. You want to own a home, so a mortgage is fine. Student loans. You want to go to college, you want to get a career, student loans are fine. Maybe you need a car and a car loan, that's fine. So we want to have some debt because it's okay. Like that's a part of living and growing and expanding is we do have to spend money to make money. So it's really not about shame. It's about knowing what you owe, what the interest rates are, what the minimums are, and just really, truly, as uncomfortable as it is, being honest with yourself. So if you guys could put in the chat, I want to know what are the dumb little things that you guys can spend money on? Like, what's a rabbit hole that you can go down and spend money and just what do you spend money on? DoorDash. Ooh, DoorDash. Amazon. Oh yeah, Chipotle. Eating out. Okay. Temu. I have not tried Temu yet. Mine is Poshmark. It's an online thrift store. It gets me. Like if I have a pair of pants that I like, I can get on Poshmark and get them, and then I justify it because it's used clothing. So therefore, I'm not putting more trash on the planet. And that's how I justify my late night shopping sprees. And now I own every kind of Lululemon legging because they were like, oh, they're $10. I better, it'd be stupid not to buy it. Right. So this is how we get to it. Oh, George is like Netflix, Spotify. Yeah. Oh, I love my channels. I love my channels. I love TV. I wish I didn't, but I love me some television. Okay, so George just went into this debt management strategy, and then I'm going to say it again, and we're just going to say it multiple times until we really grasp it. Okay, so start by getting clear on what you owe. And so this is where we get to become uncomfortable. But list each debt with the smallest balance to the largest balance. So if you've got 4 credit cards, list them. Oh, that one I owe 10. But I mean, I'm talking total. I'm not talking the monthly payments. I'm talking the total balance. Like, how much does each credit card have? Plus, what are the monthly minimum payments, the interest rate, and the due date? So you got to get clear on this. And then you want to put every single debt onto automatic minimum payments. So that's something you just do. You log in and you can say make a payment and it will just automatically take out the minimum. So if the minimum, let's branch out. So let's say you've got 4 credit cards and on each credit card you're paying $50. Now what we're going to do is on each credit card, set them to the automatic minimum payments. So now on 3 of those credit cards, you're going to be paying $10 maybe, right? The minimum payment, $10. But then you choose that one debt, that smallest balance. And so if you put $10, that's 30 out of that. I'm doing math in my head, which is not great. 3 times 50 is 150. You take that 120 extra. Oh my God, if my high school math teacher could see me, he'd be so proud. You take that 120 extra and you put it on that smallest bank balance. So do that for a month, 2 months, however long it takes, pay off your smallest balance. Now you have 3 credit cards left. Okay. So keep them on the automatic payments, $10, $10, $10. But now you've got that extra 120 from those 3, plus whatever it was extra that you were already paying on that smallest card. So if you were already paying 30, now we're up to 150. So now you take that 150, put it on the next smallest balance over and over and over. And you just move your way up the line. This is called the debt snowball. This is how I got us out of debt well before I met George. I think I heard about this on like a talk show or something years ago. And I was like, let's try it. And my husband didn't believe me. And I was right. And we don't have debt. So I was very, very happy to like rub that in his face. Okay. So keep doing this. Oh, look at, I had numbers already written. I could have just read that. So now what you see is this is a very useful tool. This actually works. George says it works because he knows what he's talking about. I say it works because I did it. It was super awesome. So how do you guys feel about this debt strategy? Does anybody have any questions about debt strategies, anything like that? If the debt, okay, so I'm going to have you answer Tanusha's question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, okay. So I got a little longer question. I'm trying to type it and I'm like, oh, I only
Sure,
got the
sure.
first part done. Okay, so what is a good system to keep track of expenses, including credit card, check, cash payments? Okay, I mean, incredible question. Number one, you need to find out where your money's going. If your problem area, say, like mine, is eating out, okay, food. So then I say, and this is what a game I play with my wife. I say, look, we have $50 to spend this week on whatever we want. It could be Starbucks, it could be whatever, but we can't go over a thing. So we have a little thing on, you could have a little thing on the fridge that you spend, or just take $50 cash or break it up into fives or whatever. And then because I joke with her, I said, "Oh, I'm like, I want to go to Starbucks," and she's like, "You treating me?" And I'm like, "No, because that's my only amount of money for the week." So we start to kind of gamify just how we spend money, and then we're like, oh, and then I'm like, okay, can I go the rest of the week without spending this money? So then by the end of the month, I can have like a good thing to go out to eat for. So that would be a good way to just kind of just play a game and just but use it with just cash. Or I mean, if or you use debit cards or whatever, but avoid the credit card if you already have a bad relationship with the credit card history. So I would say that would be a good way. And then, but the key thing is doing a budget. You know, you need to do a budget. I see weekly, but I'm in this industry, okay? But at least once a month, see where your problem areas are, and you can start to tell and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I should fix this, and then set a dollar amount that you should only spend in that category.
And so another question is, what do you think about debt consolidation services?
Okay. I mean, a lot of people, because they see that they feel like there's too much debt. A debt consolidation can be a way, but sit with someone with experience to build a strategy for you. Something that when you look at it, you're like, you know what, I can do it. Because that could be a better solution. Because doing debt consolidation, I mean, if it's extreme, then that's okay. But I would talk to someone first with experience because it could ruin your credit history, and it's just a nightmare to deal with a lot of these people because they are paid to gouge you and not treat you well.
Yeah. For debt management strategy, if the debt has different interest rates, should you prioritize the highest one first?
Great question. So there's two ways to think of it. You can prioritize the highest interest rate, but so you pay less. But I like to do the lowest debt first, even though the interest rate may be lower. The reason why is because I want immediate gratification. Human beings, psychologically, we want to have a win. And if we're just chipping away at this monster debt, it just feels like forever. You feel like, oh, it's never over. So work on the small debt. Focus the energy on one, and when you finish one, celebrate. Not by spending money, but celebrate. Be like, yeah, high five, and then you can tackle the next one. So my recommendation is go with psychologically, so you see that progress.
I love that because that's the same as any kind of coaching. It's like you really want to get that win. So it's like, oh, I can do this. And it is more satisfying. Okay. I think that's it for questions. Um, oh, here's one more. I have frozen credit cards, no longer accumulating interest, but showing in credit reports. What's the best way to pay those off? Is it just this same method? Hold on, you're muted. There you go.
I would talk to the creditor. So sometimes, we just don't pay certain cards or whatnot. So I would call them and say, hey, you want to make an effort to pay, and you can actually arrange. So if there's scenarios like that, you can actually talk to them, and they're usually pretty good about trying to create a plan for you, to get those paid off. So if it is a frozen credit card, yeah, just call them and see what they can do, to try to accommodate a payment that makes sense for you. But I would look at your overall strategy because you give them too much money and then you won't have anything, then you may be in a tough financial spot too.
Okay. And then one more question. Multiple. How do you deal with Netflix, Spotify, cable? That was his. I
How
know
do
he's
I deal with
asking, but
Netflix,
I'm like,
Spotify?
that
Hey,
was George's personal thing.
you know what it is these things creep up and we don't pay attention. And it's so funny because they're so smart. Like I just got, like, say, a new phone, and then they say, hey, you get 3 free months. So then they're
Mhm.
like, oh, just put it on your calendar. But see, they rely on the human nature of us being lazy. So they know it's strategic. So I know that you just got to reassess. Honestly, you have to go every month and be like, "Oh my goodness, I forgot that I got this." And you're like, "Am I really watching HBO Max? Oh, the show I want to watch is there." But look at your goals and what you really want, that you believe that you want, and then
Mhm.
make that decision, because the things that are more valuable to you, say, for example, whether it's getting out of debt, building an emergency fund, or saving for a trip, something that you enjoy, it's more important than HBO Max.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel that one too because there's different shows on different channels and you have a different feel and I bought Peacock real quick because I want to watch, like, I got it for the Olympics and now I want to watch the World Cup every day and I have to be like, okay, don't go down this rabbit hole. Nisha brought up, I feel like money gets wasted on spoiled food and I need to educate myself on food storage, and that is actually a big one for me. I grew up with food insecurity, and so I'm a food hoarder, um, which is super annoying. I don't eat the food. I hoard it until it goes to waste, and then I throw it away, and I just repeat. And I eat a lot of food. Like I cook. I don't ever eat out. I actually do cook all the time. Um, but I have this like weird, like that's a money trauma, right? Like that's a trauma that I have, and that's how it shows itself. It's just interesting. So it's really good to kind of sit that. And then George, one more question. Should I consider consolidating my credit cards?
I mean, yeah, I saw somebody that had a line of credit or something, and then they can consolidate into one. It can be good, but it can also be a trap because you're not solving the problem, the root of the problem. The root of the problem is that we're so comfortable spending on credit cards. So
Mhm.
unfortunately, I've seen people consolidate, and then a year, 2 years later, they're back in the same amount of debt, and nothing's changed. So I mean, yes, it's good. It can be good depending on your scenario. But remember, what is the root problem? So if you do that, then lower your amount that you can borrow from your credit cards to say $500, or $100, or freeze them, stick them in your freezer and in water or something so you can't get access to your credit cards easily. That'll be a good way until you build up a good emergency fund, and then you can clear out your debt every single month.
Have you had a client ever freeze their credit cards in the freezer in water?
I have. I have actually. Yes, I have. Because they're like, I'm so lazy that I don't want to melt the ice that I'm
Uh-huh.
like, oh, forget it. It's just too much work,
I
you know?
love that.
Hmm.
Ooh, now Jennifer, this I think is a really good one. I just took my credit cards out of my digital wallet. Ooh, yeah.
Amazing.
And
That's
delete
also a
them
great
from your
way.
autofill because it is easy. If it autofills, I don't even think about it.
Com
I do stand by my choice of all these leggings I just bought though, so I'm gonna start tomorrow. Okay, this has been such a good conversation. So now we're gonna get into the emergency fund. So the emergency fund is money set aside for things you didn't plan for. So there is a difference between a savings account and an emergency fund, right? So you can have savings. That's great. We want to save, we want to pay ourselves, but we want this emergency fund that we're not even going to be dipping into. This is set aside specifically for a bigger thing like a car repair, job loss, medical bill, home repair, vet emergency, or an unexpected trip to help the family. So I have an emergency fund, and just last week, my roof leaked, and I came out. I was working. Was it? It was after this class last week, actually. That's so funny. It was after this class. I went in the kitchen. My floor was wet, and my ceiling had this huge crack in it. And it's like, oh, okay, now I got to deal with that. Thank God for the emergency fund. This is going to create peace of mind because it gives you options, because there's always going to be a new surprise to fill you with debt. So, like, even today, I had to take the dog to the cardiologist. Those are hella expensive. And so it's like, okay, do I have that money? So I want you to ask yourself a couple questions. What do you want your life to look like in 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years? And so this was something really great that George talked about whether or not, like, maybe 1 year is not quite long enough, but you think, okay, in 5 years, by 5 years, I want to have gotten a better education. I want to own a home. However it is in your life, like maybe in 1 year you want to take a really great trip or get a new car. So think about, like, what is it that you want in 10 years? Do you want to retire in 10 years? So, what expenses are coming up that you already know about? So, are you going on a trip? Are you moving? A house repair? A big purchase? The next thing to think about is how much would I need to survive for 1 month if my income stopped? So, hopefully you could get a job in a month. And how much would that cost? But now we want to move into even longer than that. What would it look like if I lost my job for 6 months? How much money would you need? So this is where that budget comes into play. So we want to start small. So your first goal is to save your first $1,000. Does anybody remember saving their first $1,000? And it was just like, holy shit, that's in the savings account. Like, that's just my money. I remember my first $1,000. It was just amazing. Okay, the next step would be to think about, oh, sorry. The next step is to think about setting things up. Oh, wait. Next goal is 1 month of essential expenses. So if you get laid off, you're probably going to cut the Netflix and the HBO, but like, what is essential, right? The utilities, the food, the gas. And keep in mind that, like, gas gets more expensive, food gets more expensive. So do you need a little buffer for those things? A longer term goal would be to build 3 to 6 months of expenses. And so that's going to be this epic feeling of like, if something were to happen to me, I can live for 3 to 6 months and be fine. That's amazing. And eventually, you want to work towards saving 15% of your income. So, what's realistic to you? So, 15%. And remember, this is just the emergency savings. This isn't talking about 401k or anything like that, just emergency savings. Savings is less about the exact amount and more about building the habit. So, here we go. We're talking about habits again. We just want to build the habit of saving. So whether or not it's like $5 every Friday, fine. $5 Fridays. Just it's a habit to be saving this money. Maybe you can set up something automatically. So I have an automatic system that like I get paid, the first and the 15th. And so I take that money and it automatically sends money over to the savings account every single month so that I don't have to go, oh, well, gee, I don't know. I kind of want to go buy XYZ. No, it's already going. It has nothing to do with me. It's none of my business. Um, one of the, well, I'll say this later. So the next is you want to increase it slowly as your income or circumstances change. So you have one job, you're saving money at a certain amount, but then you get a new job and you make a little bit more money. Can you live at that same level of life, but save that extra money? So this is a thing that happens, and I've seen it happen in my life. As we make more money, somehow we also spend more money and our lifestyle grows because you're like, oh, well, now I can afford the good coffee or I can afford to eat dinner out, however, this is for you. And so can you kind of keep your lifestyle the same and then all that extra money you save? Now, that's not forever, right? This is just to build this emergency savings account so that you have that 3 to 6 months buffer. So live the same, build up a 3 to 6 months buffer. And then at the end of that 6 months, now you can buy the expensive coffee. Now you can go on a shopping spree because you already have that in alignment.
Well, Lark,
But
there's
yeah,
a
yeah,
couple questions, and
please.
maybe I should. So there's one that says, "Where do you save your emergency fund?" Another savings account, in your savings account, etc. Okay,
I was gonna get to that and the where it should go, but George,
okay, yeah, yeah.
I know you
So
got a cute story
this
about
is
this.
this is a good one.
Do
Okay,
it. I know you
see,
got
see, for
this.
me, I don't trust myself because this is what happens. If I have my own one account, let's say Bank of America or whatever you use. I have my savings account, but then I ran out of money and then I just move it over. Okay. So I had to hide my money from myself. Okay. So yeah, create a different account. Okay. Create a different account, but make sure it's something that is no monthly fees. Okay. Because you don't want to pay monthly fees. So there's a lot of great ones. American Express has not the credit card, has a high yield savings account. You don't want to put it stuck into a CD or anything that's going to be invested or you can't have access to because in an emergency, you need your money right away. Okay. And the other secret too is as you get your paycheck, she said, pay yourself first, love yourself. This is the money for you. If you love yourself, everybody wants your money. Everybody. Okay. But you say no. Lark said, I have to pay myself first because I love myself. So I'm going to set aside this into my emergency fund. The amount doesn't matter. It matters that you're consistent with it. Okay. But yes, separate high yield savings account. Don't invest it because if it's an emergency, you need your money right away.
I love that. And I love that he said, I forgot that when we had that conversation, I forgot that you said, this is a way of showing yourself self-love. And I think that is so beautiful. And I forgot that you said that. So thank you for adding that to it. So, he says to make sure you do it. So he puts it in a separate account. My emergency savings is in a separate account. Like I can't, like I would have to go through it. And then by the time I move it over, it'd be like 3 days and I have to pay a fee. I do love high yield savings accounts because it's just free money with that interest. Okay, let me just do this and then we'll get some more questions. So pay yourself first. So we're talking about subscriptions, wait, pay yourself first. Oh, I'm sorry. I read two different things. I'm sorry. So, where should this go? We're going to keep it in a separate savings account. We're going to make sure you can access if you need it. But so not a CD, not a mutual fund, somewhere where you can get it if you need it within a few days. But don't keep it mixed in with your everyday checking account because then it's just there. It's easily accessible. So you want to create some distance for yourself so it's not impulsive. So usually something that's going to be unexpected, necessary, or urgent. Um, a sale at Macy's, a vacation, a concert ticket, those are not emergencies. If you have the money for it, great. But if not, that's not emergency. So I put George's example in here. He likes to think of it, it's not bringing cookies into the house. So if you bring cookies into the house, you're going to eat the cookies because you're human. I'm not. I'm going to hoard them until they go stale, but you're going to bring them in the house and you're going to eat them. And if you don't bring the cookies in, then you don't eat the cookies. There you go. Okay, so let's go into the chat and do some more questions. So again, let's see. I'm just seeing what we did. Is it safe to use an online only savings account? Okay. And then he says, yes, you can use an online. So I'm just going to mute it so you can just jump in whenever you want. Um,
Yeah, okay. Okay, so be careful with the online accounts. Okay, there are some that are not good. I would use ones that are attached to a big bank. So big banks will have, say, Bank of America, will have a smaller version and their online version of it. So I would use something like that. Okay, so um, but yeah, that's what I would recommend for the online banks. So that's why I say the American Express high yield savings. Yeah, and then somebody said, no, this other one can be better. I can't remember what other bank they said. But yeah, take a look at what other bank, I mean, to see what you can do and then use that for that period of time. Usually it's a promotional rate for 6 months. But at the end of the day, it's really not to, this money isn't to earn interest. This money is for emergencies. Okay, so don't look for the returns at this point. That's investment strategy.
it's just as a nice little bonus when you see that extra little bit of money, right? But
Mm.
it's really about the amount that you are saving. Okay. So now we're going to get into investments. Okay. So investing is the fourth layer because we only want to invest when the first three are solid. So, do you have your insurance's needs met, right? Are you protecting the people you love? Do you have long term care? We're looking into that. The next is that we want to be done with debt, do our debt, elimination strategy, debt management strategy. And then the third is we want to have like 3 to 6 months of emergency savings. And once you have all of that and you're just chilling and cozy and safe and you've got all the security, that's when we're going to look into investments. You have the right protections, the right debt plan, and the emergency fund. So, basic investing, you could have like a 401k. These are often offered through many jobs where money just goes directly from your paycheck. So it's just automatically goes into a 401k. You never have to look at it. You pay your, what is it, 2,400 a year, and then you move on. The next is a traditional IRA. So this is where you can set up a retirement account for you to open yourself. So I have IRAs because I own my own business, so nobody's helping me with my paycheck. So you set one up, and then the contributions may offer a tax benefit now, but it kind of depends on your situation. So with IRAs, I think you can deposit, is it 7,500 now a year? It used to be 7,000. Now I think it's 7,500 a year. So you
That's right.
can do that. You just put it in. So it's not as much as you could do with a 401k, but it kind of depends on what is available to you.
If you're a business owner too, you can look into a SEP IRA. Okay, so that's something, Lark, you should look into a SEP IRA.
Oh, she won't let me. My accountant won't let me. I've asked her about it. And I think
Oh,
there's
hmm.
some reason that we're not at a certain point. She won't let me do it.
Okay, it could be the structure of your LLC.
Yeah, it's something about that.
Mm.
And she's like, no, we're not going to do that yet. So, but I did ask her after we talked. Okay, the next could be stocks. So stocks is where you own just like a small, tiny piece of a big company. So stocks are a whole thing. And this is where you really, really, really want to hire somebody. So, how many of you here have willy-nilly bought some stock because you thought you had any idea what you were doing? I have. Oh, I have spent some money on stocks that promptly went nowhere. Um, because I like the company or whatever. It's so ridiculous. I don't know anything about stocks. And so for me, that's where I need to hire somebody. I have a financial planner who helps me with stocks because, like, I don't know, I don't understand the market. I don't get it. Next is mutual funds. So this is investment pools where they like pool your money. And so like I have a lot of mutual funds. And so I have a little piece of a lot of companies. And so this works well for me. I see that strategy working well. If your employer matches your 401k, oh God, let them give you that money. If they want to give you free money, let's take it. So when we talk about investing, another thing to think about is dollar cost averaging. So that means that you invest the same amount regularly, such as like with every paycheck or every month, whether or not the market is up or down. So I have a friend that does this and it's been very successful for him because a lot of times people try to time the market, except for we don't know what we're doing and we don't know what the timing is. So if you just allocate a certain amount of money every month to go into that investment, then this is how you're going to be able to pool it better. So you want to start with an amount that you can consistently afford. And remember, this is after insurance, debt management, and emergency fund. Automate it when possible. Take advantage of any employer matching, anything they do. And just like that emergency savings fund, increase your investment as your income increases. So my system, what it does is like it reinvests all the like interest that I made every time. Like it restates it. And so that way it's like already working with itself. Um, do not panic sell when the market drops. My husband did that. It was real dumb. Don't panic sell. Wait it out. There's ups and downs. And usually with investments, we want to think of a long-term plan anyways. I do have a client who is a day trader. He's fascinating. But my goal is to have a nice life when I retire. So I'm looking long term. So if a company is going down today, I'm not upset about it. It's fine because tomorrow it might be up. If you're able to maximize your retirement contributions, so 401k, that's the 2,400 a year. The IRA, that's 7,500 a year. If you can do that, then this way it's going to be able to cover over and over and over with your taxes, your debt, your family responsibility. So this is a really good thing to do, these like basic strategies for investments. And what we want to do is hire somebody. If you're at the point of investing, let's hire people to tell us what to do. Okay, does anybody have any questions about investment?
So I'll answer some questions I just see here. For Jennifer, my boyfriend says CFP. Every time I say, he tells me I need to just start saving first. Correct. He is totally right. You just need to start. Okay. Be consistent with the set amount. Another question or a question is maybe we will contribute to their jobs 401k. That's like under the retirement plan. I don't know. Sometimes I think it's not going to cut it. I mean it. So here's a key thing. When you look at your lifestyle, say in the future, depending on the kind of lifestyle you want, let's say you feel like, well, in the future, the house is going to be paid off. I'm a very simplistic person. I only need $5,000 a month. So we take any Social Security that you may receive. Okay, there's ways to calculate exactly how much you'll have at the end of the day. You look at your 401k. Remember, in a 401k, a Roth IRA, you have to select an investment. That's the thing that makes it grow or not grow. Okay, so depending on what that investment will do, we can see, well, you're probably going to end up here based on your contributions. And then after taxes and inflation, once you take that money out, is it enough? If it isn't enough, then we need to do something else. Maybe it is a Roth IRA, maybe it is an IRA. Okay. So it depends on the kind of lifestyle you want. So that's what we need to figure out is some people want to just get an RV and travel the country. Okay, maybe not expensive, or go live in Mexico. Okay, so it depends on what you want. But then we just reverse engineer and we look at the habits you have now and say, hey, will we be able to hit our goal? Difference between Roth IRAs and IRAs. Yeah, I mean, so simply put, is if you want to get a tax deduction for this year, an IRA is a great choice. Okay, you have some room available depending on your age. You may have a little bit more room. So if you're making too much in income, then that may help you offset your taxes for this year. For Roth, you can't deduct it for the year, a tax deduction, but any growth will grow tax free. And then I think one question was, the RMDs, which is it's a fancy way of saying what sometimes the 401k and IRAs force you to take out money at a certain age. Yes, that can debilitate you and trigger taxes. But then, like I said, talk to someone like myself that has experience to really break it down for you so you understand that strategy. And last thing, precious metals. Are they good to invest in? I mean, um, if you take care of your basics, your fundamentals, go have fun. There's nothing wrong with doing the Bitcoins and the stocks and the precious metals and all that stuff. But are your fundamentals done? Proper protection, debt management strategy, emergency fund, and then the stuff that you need for retirement. Make sure you're comfortable.
Hmm. I've never heard of the RMDs before, so that was pretty interesting. I have no idea what we have. Okay, so these are the four fundamentals, and we went through some really great jet strategies. So I'm curious, while we have George on the call, does anybody have any more questions about anything? And remember, he's not going to tell us like what stocks to buy, but ooh, actually, George, I love this question. Renting versus buying.
Mm.
My husband and I have went through this question many, many times, and I want you to talk about it for sure, but I want to say this little thing that I read that's like really stuck with me.
Yeah.
When you buy a home, your mortgage is the least amount of money you're ever going to spend. But when you rent, your rent is the most amount of money you're ever going to spend. And so, as a homeowner, yeah, I pay a mortgage, but also my ceiling just fell down. So now I've got to pay that ceiling. So I really loved that. That really, really, really stuck with me. So, George, renting or buying?
Oh, amazing question. It depends on your positioning. Okay. Remember, buying a home is an investment. Okay. It's just like a 401k or Roth IRA or starting a business or going to school. It's an investment of time and money. Okay. So if you're going to go purchase a home, that's a great thing. But if you are basically running on red and then you just make enough to cover the mortgage every month and no emergency fund and you have debt, I would say stick with renting, okay, until we're able to build that up, right? Your financial house. But if you're in a great position, there's a difference between putting a 5%, 10%, 20% down. There could be more costs affiliated and fees if you don't put a large enough down payment. So then maybe it doesn't make sense. But then on the other end, if you wait to save 20%, and depending on what state you live in, and maybe you'll never buy a home. So maybe you do want to start at a 5 or 10% down. So, but positioning is important. So, should you rent or should you buy? It depends on what your positioning is and your financial house.
I love that question because I mean, it's so apt for the people in my life. Like, we're always like, do we rent? Do we buy? People, I'm 46, and this is where people start getting divorced. People are moving for jobs. And so it's like, oh shit, what do we do? Okay, we've got some more questions.
So leasing a car, is it a scam? It depends. Okay, so for myself, I'm an entrepreneur. If I lease my car, it's a tax deduction. I need my tax deduction. So leasing can make sense for me, but may not make sense if you are just like an employee, right? And then you want ownership of the car. Maybe buying the car is better. Okay. Some people just sort of get it like a new car and they don't care about ownership. I mean, it's like renting a car is really what it is. What type of insurance should a single person in their 40s with no children need? I would say, well, what are we getting the coverage for? Maybe you don't need anything. If you, for example, are planning to not have kids, no responsibilities, but then say, oh, maybe my spouse take care of funeral costs. Maybe we get something just to cover that. So I would show you kind of different examples of how they work, and then you can decide.
Mhm.
Let's see
If
here,
you're
modified.
starting out, would you find a fiduciary or just do it on your own?
Um, you always want to work with a fiduciary, okay? Just because they'll have your best interest in mind.
Can you talk about
Um,
what a fiduciary is?
yeah, so it's someone that it's basically they are responsible for your well-being. So the decisions made, it basically means they're licensed, okay? They're a licensed individual and they are responsible to make sure that they have your best interest in mind, not their sales quota or whatever else. So fiduciary absolutely is very important.
Hmm. The woman who was trying to sell me insurance was not a fiduciary, and she was like, definitely going to make a commission. Um, okay, another question was, do you recommend having more than one credit card or more than one bank account?
I mean, having credit cards is not a bad thing as long as you're paying it off in full. If you can see that you have a terrible credit spending problem, then no, having multiple credit cards is a terrible thing. Can you have more than one bank account? You can, but I'll ask, well, why do we need it? If it's say to make sure you have a separate emergency fund, travel fund, and a separate place so you don't look at that money, that can be good, but make sure you don't fall in the trap of paying too many bank fees.
Hmm. Okay, excellent. So, um, Atika, could you put those links back up for working with George?
I'll put a link for a survey card as well.
Oh, okay,
So
perfect.
if someone wants to just fill out a survey card to for me to understand kind of what you want to learn about and just your information, I can reach out as well to answer any questions.
Yeah, so if you want to fill out his survey card, that way we can help him because he really is amazing. He took his time. He talked to me, gave me this information. We made sure we had the right document for you. So we'd love to know that George is doing great. Also, feel free to give me 5 stars for this event because it just makes me feel really good. The next is that here are some classes for him. These are free. These are in Eventbrite. So that way you can um, get in there and just see what he's doing and get to know him. We have another question. Is owning land a good or bad idea?
Positioning again. I mean, remember buying land is there's a lot of responsibility in if you want to build something on it, right? On the land. And there's a lot of restrictions and laws and I mean, I see people just doing renos and almost go through divorces. Imagine building a property.
Yeah.
Okay, so positioning again is important. But yeah, land can be great. I mean, it could be a really great asset.
And a thing with land to think about too, because I fall in this category, you have to pay those property taxes. So if I own a house, like, yeah, that house will value, that house will appreciate. Land doesn't appreciate. Like it can go up a little bit, but it's not like a recognizable appreciation. And so I'm paying property taxes on it. It's certainly not going up by that amount of money every month or every year. Plus, my land has an HOA, which I have to pay for, which is real stupid. So so it's like, are those fees worth it? Or like, is it something that I want to build on eventually?
Hmm.
So lots of things to think about. Okay, and then again, if you like us, if you like Awkward to Awesome, I love you guys. This is amazing for me. Give us 5 stars. It just helps us feel like appreciated because this is a lot of work that we do for free and it's really fun. If you're a lady and you'd like to work on regret this month and life choices and shoulda, woulda, couldas, Atika's going to put in the Women's Collective link so you could come join us. That's going to be tomorrow night at 6:30 Eastern. And then I think I just want to make sure we have. Oh, thank you all for this info and for answering every question. Thank you. I really appreciate it because isn't George amazing and wonderful? And let's give him some thanks because You could tell by the suit. He's an important man, and
Oh
he
my goodness.
came here to spend time with us, and I super appreciate him. Oh, thank you, Sarah. That was very beautiful. Okay, so if you guys ever have any topics, feel free to DM me. Let me know so that we can keep providing information that's valuable. And just like George, if you're a person on this call that has an expertise, message me and we can do something like this. Because I certainly don't know everything, and it was really, really beneficial for me to get to know George. So, okay, so we're getting off early. We're lucky. I love you all so much. Thank you for all my return people. Thank you for the new people. I hope you come back. And all right, have a great night, everybody. Love you. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.